Welcome back to Opinion Journal. I'm Mary Kissel. A really terrible day on the markets again. Following a tough day yesterday, investors are very worried about the Federal Reserve and their easy money policies. Will the next chairman or chairwoman continue these policies? So we thought it would be worth taking a closer look at the frontrunners for that job, Fed Vice Chairwoman Janet Yellen and Harvard economist Larry Summers. I've got America's columnist, Mary Anastasia O'Grady, with me now. Mary, let's start with Janet Yellen. Who is she?
Janet Yellen is an economist. She was at one time on the Board of Governors from 1994 to 1997. That's a group of people in Washington that are part of the Federal Open Market Committee. There's 7 of them under normal circumstances. And then she was the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco from 2004 to 2010.
So very, very experienced. You've been reporting on the Fed for a long time, and you dug up some very interesting comments that Miss Yellen made back in the mid-90s about what she thought the Fed's role should be. What did you glean?
Well, actually, there's no secret about Janet Yellen in terms of her belief in the Fed as an engine of growth for the economy. But back in 1995, Alan Greenspan asked the committee to have a debate about the merits of inflation targeting as a monetary policy tool. And Al Broadus, who was the president of the Richmond Fed, took the pro side, and Janet Yellen argued against inflation targeting. And that's where, as you say, she said some things that, are pretty eye-popping. Again, I think pretty much consistent with what we know about her. But, she basically said that if there is a conflict between inflation and getting the economy going, what she calls output and employment, she thinks we should let inflation go higher so we can get output and employment. And that can lead to some pretty troubling outcomes.
Yeah, and the Fed doesn't exactly have a great record of knowing when to turn the easy money taps on and off either. I want to turn quickly to Larry Summers, who shares many of these views. Most people know Summers from the controversy that he had at Harvard, comments about women, but that's not his whole record, right? There are other things that we should know about Larry Summers.
Well, Larry Summers is also a Keynesian, also believes in, the government getting things going when the private sector is not producing the kinds of outcomes that we want. But he also in his various roles over time at the Treasury and so forth, he has gotten involved in different bailouts around the world and so forth. And when he was at Harvard, he was very close to someone who ended up taking a sort of having a conflict of interest. Let me put it that way.
Andrei Schleifer, he's an economist there, good friend of Larry Summers.
And there are those who think that the reason why he had to leave Harvard was not because he made comments about women and how good they are at math, but rather because he backed this particular individual who was shown to have a conflict of interest and really did not perform in a morally upright way during the privatization period in Russia.
Okay, well, memories are short, especially in Washington. Thank you so much for refreshing ours. America's columnist,
Sure.
Mary Anastasia O'Grady, thank you so much for being on the show.